So I recently had the opportunity to participate in the Arknights 4th anniversary event titled For You, held at the Tokyo Big Sight Convention Center on the 13th and 14th of January. The 2-day event featured live shows, giant operated panel displays, figures, models, behind the scenes for the anime, character designs, mini games, a giant gacha machine, collab food, and of course a humongous row of cashiers for the sale of goods. In this video, I'll go through the first day of the event from my own point of view and try to showcase as much as possible from what I managed to capture. Hello everyone, it's me again, and it's been a long time since I've last made a video because I've actually been in Japan for the last 3 months. During that time, I'd have been to quite a few events including Comiket, and of course, the recent Arknights 4th anniversary event. Now this channel isn't really meant to be a travel log, but in this case, I felt that Arknights is relevant, not to mention the fact that tickets are entirely lottery based, so it's definitely worth making a video about it. Anyways, feel free to skip around and stuff, and with that, let's begin. First, I want to talk briefly about tickets. There's this app called E+ that handles all the tickets and lotteries. It might be a region-locked app, so if you find yourself in Japan and are hoping to try for tickets, you may have to change your app store region to Japan first to see it. Once you enter the app and found the corresponding event, you can then apply for it. When results are announced, you come back to the app and can view the results on this page here. The lottery to the anniversary event was done in 2 separate batches. You can see that I actually tried for both day 1 and day 2 as the second batch, but I only got day 1. Once I got the news, which was around mid-December, I had, I believe, around 1 week to pay at a convenience store using a code that was given to me through the app. I then had to wait until January 10th before the tickets were available for download. Once downloaded, you are ready. On the day itself, a staff member will tap the ticket on your phone, swipe it to mark it as used, before giving you the corresponding wristband as you will see later. I recommend not playing around with the tickets once you have it downloaded, as you might accidentally swipe it yourself prematurely. Once used, this is what the ticket will look like. I'm not sure if the 3rd anniversary event was done this way, so it may or may not change in the future. Anyways, just a quick segue on tickets. Back to the video. Even though the event starts at 9 AM, I arrived at the location around 7 AM on the first day. It might look rather empty at the moment, but if you have been to any of such events before, you will know that coming in a few hours earlier is basically par for the course. Especially so if they're goods that you're hoping to get, which there almost always is due to stuff like event only or collab goods. This time, the event is held in the West 3 and 4 halls, which are on the 4th floor. Organization-wise, the lineups to enter the halls are set up on the rooftops just outside of the West 3 and 4 halls. The line you see here is the line to go up the steps to the roof along the outside of the building. At this point, the weather is amazing, with the rising sun casting a beautiful glow on the iconic inverted pyramid of the convention center. As I get up on the stairs here, you can see that despite being 2 hours early, I am by no means anywhere near the earliest. My group was led down this group 3 aisle in rows of 4. For reference, I remember seeing cones with numbers up to around 7 or 8. I also did a rough count here as I walked past the group 2 people, and there's at least 60 sets of 4, which makes me somewhere around the 500th position from the beginning of group 1. In this position, everyone had to wait around for 2 hours, and I guess they really wanted to keep us compact because unlike Comiket, the organizers didn't get us to sit down at all. While waiting, I saw staff members entering to get set up, as well as more people joining and queuing up somewhere further back. At around 8:45 AM, the first group was let in for the back check and getting the wristbands which served as the ticket. Shortly after, Group 2 was also let in, but the inside filled up quickly, and here's what the situation looks like at this point. You can clearly see that the back areas are also fully filled with people now too. Now, through the glass doors, we're basically in front of the West 4 hall, and with the West 3 hall all the way down at the end. The queues went from rows of 4 to 5, expanding towards the left. So being in the left of my group of 4, I got to move forwards a little as people spilled over towards the new queue. While waiting, I also got to see the shutters open, and this, as you will see later, is the area for the goods. And in the back, you can just barely see Mizuki's area. More people are also being let in to stand by where Group 1 used to be, but likely these people are in Group 10 or so definitely come early. At 9 AM sharp, the first in line will let into the venue, as you can just barely see in this clip here, while the rest of us shuffle forwards like penguins. You can also see here that everyone went for the goods first. Here's what the wristband looked like for day 1. Once I entered, it was all about getting into the queue for the goods, and recording took a back seat. If we look at the map here, you can see that from the entrance, the goods area is towards the right, which is exactly where I went. But what I didn't realize was that the queue was already so long that the end of it is nearly at the end of the West 4 hall towards the left. Anyways, after some panic and FOMO, here's my view from the queue. Along the way, I can also see the Chibi W and Amiya mascots posing for photos, but more on these two later in the video. Here's also the entrance decorations and the entrance that I entered from. Now, you would think that coming 2 hours earlier was enough to be let into the goods queue directly, but because of the limited space, they were already handing out these placeholder tickets. I wasn't worried though, since I knew it should be quick being the first group of Group A. The QR code here is the official Twitter of Yostar, where announcements were supposed to be made to let people know which group it is at the moment. Here's what the cashiers look like at this point. They're all empty because I was early enough that even the frontliners are still choosing and figuring out the purchase form. Since I had to wait and the gacha machines were also right next to the goods area, I also went and got the placeholder ticket for that as well. But those who are wondering, you don't have to be there within the stipulated time. It is just a guide meant to prevent people from going earlier than their time slot. So in this case, for example, even after 10:30, they will just let you in. The same goes for the goods as well, because when I finally went later, it was already Group B. Here's the goods lined up. There are pictures on the official event website, but nothing beats seeing the real thing. Although I will add that you're not allowed to touch anything. Other than the obviously 2024 event-themed items, I'm not sure which other ones are new or repeats, so fellow doctors who are more knowledgeable, please feel free to flex your knowledge in the comments. While waiting, I checked out the closet area, which is where they're showcasing character skins on these giant screens which changed every so often. Beside it, you have this area called the 4th Anniversary Special Training Ground, where if you can clear a certain mission within the stipulated criteria, you can get a postcard. Now is probably a good time to talk about the activities in this event. As you enter the event hall, you're handed 4 items. A hand warmer because it's winter, a sticker advertising the sale of Arknights Blu-ray, a pamphlet, and a clear file. The last of which is such a great idea since there were a lot of paper-based handouts during the event. Anyways, the pamphlet is your key to a lot of these activities and mini-games that are found in the venue. In total, there are 8 different activities you can participate in. I'll showcase some activities later in the video, but the quicker ones I'll include them along with the explanation here for the video to flow better. The order on the website is different, but going by the pamphlet, the special training grounds. As mentioned before, you complete in-game levels within the stipulated criteria to get a postcard. There are 3 different difficulties. Beginner, clear 1-7 with 3 stars. Intermediate, clear today's training grounds with risk 5 and 9 or less operators. Advanced, clear today's training grounds with all risk, except the buffs, and 7 or less operators. Regardless of which one you did, you will receive the same postcard for your efforts, so unless you're really proficient, you might as well do the simplest and spend more time enjoying the event instead. Queuing wise, the length changed throughout the day, but you probably never need to wait more than 15 minutes. One interesting thing I saw was this, the paper that the staff is using to keep tally of the number of each challenge that is completed. The number of the advanced completion is like 7 times that of the beginner and intermediate combined. Seems like there were a lot of capable doctors that day. Originium Slug Race, an entirely luck-based game. You're handed a card with 4 punch-outs. Select one you like and watch the race corresponding to the number written on the card. These occur every 15 minutes, and there's a total of 32 races in the first day. The winner of each race is also recorded on this chart in front of the booth. The queue to redeem is rather short, like 5 to 10 minutes-ish, due to the number of windows available. You get a sticker for participating, and if your slug wins, you get an additional sticker on top of the participation one, which is why there are 2 lines here. I'll show my race A09 later in the video. Mud Rock's Crack Splitter, a scaled-up version of the traditional Japanese game of Daruma Otoshi. You need to hit the pieces from the bottom without toppling the tower. Think of it as Jenga with a hammer. Even though there were quite a few setups, the queue for this was insanely long throughout the day, at around 120 to 180 minutes. Participating in it gives you 4 Originium, which, based on another Japanese YouTuber's video since I didn't actually participate, only appears to be redeemable in a Japanese server. The hammers and tower blocks were also all made of styrofoam to keep things light and safe, but interestingly, it seems like the hammer heads were not particularly secure, leading to it flying off the handle every so often. I often saw stuff running after a rolling cylinder, apologizing profusely as they tried fitting it back frantically to keep the queues going. The fact that it's styrofoam also meant that it slowly started wearing out over the course of the day, and the hammer slowly started turning from the white styrofoam blocks into the silvery greys of duct tape. Anyways, just a funny observation. Moving on. Operator 2-shot photo. This one is pretty straightforward. You get to pose in front of a green screen and have your desired operator photoshopped beside you. You get 2 shots, but you can only choose one operator. I'm assuming the operator will be in the E1 pose, or perhaps even E2 by request, but most likely no custom poses, even for those who actually have a 3D model made for them, as you'll see later. Together with Mud Rock's activity, these are the 2 that I didn't do due to how long the queue was, which was on average a 120-minute wait. Stamp Rally. Find hidden QR codes in the venue and exchange for a set of stickers. There's 7 in total, and each one comes with a corresponding hint that you can view after answering a trivia. There's no limit to the number of tries for the quiz, so you can just brute force your way through. The hints themselves are also rather straightforward, as long as you can understand Japanese. Another way is to just walk around and see where people are gathering to take photos, but there doesn't seem to be anything interesting. Once completed, you can head to a counter beside the information one to claim your reward after a short 5 minutes queue. X or Twitter campaign. Post using the Arknights Fast 2024 tag for a postcard. Just post and go through a short queue. If you look at the one I made on my Twitter, I had to comment the correct tag because they really wanted the 2024 wording in it. Phantom's Picture Matching. Simple card matching memory game with an additional Joker card that shuffles the card's position if you happen to review it. The queue for this got up to around 120 minutes at some point, and you get a set of stickers with the same design as the cards for participating. Mizuki's Fortune Telling. Roll a dice, then based on the number, the staff will take some cards from the corresponding deck and let you choose one. If you just want to visit the theme area behind, you don't actually have to queue up, just go around the side entrance as you'll see later in the video. Here's also the card I got. Queuing is around 60 to 120 minutes I believe. It wasn't particularly long or short, so my memory is kind of fuzzy on this. That's all for the activities, and after each one, the staff will mark it off your pamphlet to make sure each person only redeems the rewards once. Going back to the original video, as I walked around the area while waiting for my turn at the goods, I saw that the Phantom's matching game was empty, so I approached it. I didn't know as much as I just shared, so I was still rather confused after being shown my way to one of the tablets. So being confused, struggling to read, and being waited upon by others in the now newly forming queue, the recording really took a hit. But as you can see here, it really is just a simple memory game. After finishing the game and getting my stickers, I wanted to check the goods queue again, and sure enough, I walked in right after sharing my placeholder ticket. To buy the goods, you need to mark on this sheet how many of each item you want, tear off the top left hand corner, and hand in the sheet to a staff member who will then prepare the goods for you while you continue queuing for a cashier. Despite the number of cashiers, this queue still took around 30 to 40 minutes, As there was no refunds or exchanging after sale, they double check your items with you against the list twice, making you mark it off on the list as you go. I'll showcase everything I've bought including the gachas later in the video, but for now, I've moved on to the gacha machines. Each person has a limit of 10 pulls, but what I realized later in the day is that it's really just a limit of 10 per time you queue, so you can basically queue again if you want to keep going. Anyways, I went for 10, and at 500 Japanese yen each, that's a total of 5,000 yen, or around 50 Canadian. Maybe it's just for efficiency, but they only accepted cash for the gacha machine. You basically get these clear tokens that you put into the slot and spin the handle. Gotta make sure the red arrows lined up or the token won't go in. Also, there's not enough space around the token slit for your hands, which made it really hard to finesse the tokens one-handed. Time at this point is around 10:30-ish, and since I've gotten what I came here for, I finally felt a bit more relaxed and began exploring the area a little more slowly. I began my walk starting at the operator panels. This year they really upped their game, turning E2 art of selected operators into these layered display. The layering and color matched lights really gave the displays a lot of impact, not to mention the scale of it too. You might have noticed that some parts are a little blown out in the video. In most cases, this is just a problem with the way the camera works. Except Gray though, Gray's face is properly blown out when looking at it in person as well. In general, the intensity of the light seemed different across the displays, and I've also felt that the operators with darker backgrounds, or under a darker colored light, felt harder to see clearly, making a lot of details lost and therefore not do the original art enough justice. Still though, this is a really cool space to be in person, and for those who are striving to be character designers, a great motivation to keep going. Beside the displays is an area with walls shaped like a castle dedicated to Phantom. I actually haven't played the game in a rather long time, like possibly over 2 years ago, so I'm not really familiar with the character. I'm assuming the illustrations on display here are related to the lore of the character. I felt like they could have possibly improved the experience by playing some relevant music as they had done in the Mizuki area. Not sure why they didn't. Anyways, the card matching Phantom minigame is also just right in front of this area. Moving on, I passed by the Originum Slug Race and moved towards the area decorated with all the current operators, as well as the giant screen that plays Arknight music videos and old gacha trailers in a loop. Later in the day, it also occasionally played the YouTube livestream of the stage. The music videos being played here really sets the atmosphere for the entire venue. I will have a long section later in the video where I'm just gonna put a walkthrough of the whole place with the original audio so you guys can experience it as well. But you can kind of hear the MVs no matter where you go. I also got a little drunk that night, and Myrtle's song just constantly looped in my head for 2 hours. I still really like it though. Also, this is a great place for artists as well, as you can really see the rendering clearly on the life-size prints of the operators. It's also a nice place to compare different art styles and see which one really catches your eye. Moving on, there's a probably 2-scale version of Marrock's Golem, and I saw someone going around the back to specifically take a photo of its ass. Anyways, I skipped by the Marrock minigame and operator photo areas, and here I find a monster sculpture, which if I remember hearing the stage host correctly, is supposed to be to scale. I don't feel like a video really conveys this sculpture well. The shiny material makes it a little hard to tell what you're looking at without being there in person. Beside it, we have these rather interesting areas dedicated to different operators. I have 2 that I really like. The first one has a really interesting composition which incorporated a lot of depth. The roundness of the structure also gave it a very sci-fi sterile look, which popped this piece out in particular for me. The whole setup is very simple too. Just a frame, but it really played to the strength of the composition, which is to draw attention to the depth. Personally, I felt like it's a wasted opportunity to not have the same roundness in the frame, but I guess that's because the illustration itself is rectangular. The other one I really like is this. The diagonal beams framed the whole thing rather well, and the lights reminded me of the one poster for Deus Ex Mankind Divided, where the lights are arranged like wings for Adam Jensen. The colors and vibe also reminded me of the game Control and its brutalist concrete environment. The thematic juxtaposition of the organic foliage and sterile cold glass and lighting is also very cool. Lastly, I also absolutely have to talk about the area for my favorite Syracusa Lupos, because this is the only area that I've personally found in the entire venue to make use of the sense of smell to help the environment building. To really illustrate the empty wine bottles on the tables here, there's this machine just blocked by the tables on screen here that's constantly spraying a scent that smells like grape juice into the air every so often. It does so in quite a large volume though, so instead of it just being contained to this area and being just faintly present, I smelled it about 2 to 3 panels away, so basically when I first started approaching the area. Standing around here, it was basically sickeningly sweet, and that's me with my mask on. I don't mean what I said as like a complaint. In fact, I wish they had done this to the other areas as well. I personally feel that scent often helped me recall memories, and I do believe that there were studies done on it as well, so it should really help to flesh out the environment. But even without stuff like that, the sense of smell is like one of the few senses that can really only be made use of in an in-person event like this, so if only they had really took advantage of that for everything else as well. Moving on, this area here was kinda like a space for official cosplayers and the previously seen chibi mascots to pose for artists to take photos. Compared to Comic-Cat, there are much fewer cosplayers since the tickets are lottery based, so even for other professional cosplayers, coming here is not a guarantee. When the space is not in use, these panels are left in place instead. At the end of the West 3 hall here is a stage which I'm not allowed to photograph. Basically, voice actors from the game and anime come on stage to talk behind the scenes and play some Arknights. It's all archived on YouTube and others have even done a summary of it, so check it out there. Here we also have a chat with his newspaper sitting on a bench. These are actual proper benches, so the lineup in front is actually a queue to sit on the bench for photos. As I turn back towards the West 4 hall, I noticed the message board, which is basically standard at events like this. Usually people write messages and the occasional art, but over here, it was almost entirely art. I was really tempted, but at this point I haven't drawn anything in a solid month or so, and to do so all of a sudden using a permanent marker will only lead to disaster, and I chickened out. I'll come back to this later in the day as well to check on this progress. Somewhere around the corner was also the section for figures, some handwritten messages from artists and other important people in Arknights production that I wasn't allowed to record, and this "don't talk to me or my son ever again" situation. The smaller one has a card which said that it's a 1 out of 2500 scale model of the moving city of Rhode Island, and the red text is basically saying that it's waiting for approval. Who knows, maybe it'll be for sale one day. Now, the large model is really impressive. I'm assuming it's 3D printed in pieces and fitted together after. But the detail and finish on it really shows how much effort they put in to put this together. I'm not sure how well it shows on camera as well, but a lot of the yellow lights are working, and you should be able to just see the tiniest bit of bloom on screen. The inner parts of this round thing is also metallic, and you can see the light bouncing off each fin as I moved around here. The whole thing is also not just a solid block of plastic. There are so many nooks and crevices for each component, the vents, the rails, different colors, the openings into the side for hangers and the lower deck areas, etc, etc. Like, the details on this thing is insane. I wouldn't be surprised if the crane on the side moved or something. I don't know if this is new to the 4th anniversary. Regardless, it's the first time I've seen it. Hats off to the team that made this, and this is easily the highlight of the entire event for me. I can almost see operators on these stacks working and interacting and going about their day, getting on planes or something to go out from missions. Maybe an alarm comes through and you get operators running to their stations. Anyways, my camera work here is really poor, but I tried taking some shots that might work as compositions for illustrations. I forgot to change the setting on my phone, which is why the aspect ratios are off. Besides the model, there are also some miscellaneous items on display. These Seiko watches, for example. Honestly, these are so subtle that I probably won't even know it's related to the game without the boxes. Next, we also have some bags and a Thorn's necklace, I guess? As far as I can tell, none of these are for sale. After all this, I started paying more attention to the activities, and chronologically, this is when I did the special training grounds and Slug Race. To skip the first since I just did 1-7 with a bunch of E2s, and I'll showcase the Slug Race with its original audio. After redeeming my stickers, I went for Mizuki's fortune telling, which is what this queue here is. Since there's audio in Mizuki's area, I will also just let the original video I took play out. Next, I went back to check on the message board and this is what it looks like. Chronologically, I then completed the special training grounds and started my stamp rally. As I walked around looking for QR codes, I found a 3D talking Texas and her group of friends. I've recorded the whole cycle through all 5 or so operators, which I'll put later in the video. At some point, I've also found the make new friends wall, and obviously this should have been completely empty at the start of the event, but keep the timestamp handy because you'll see just how crowded it gets by the end of the day. It is now around noon, so I thought it was time to check out the collab food. So I walked out the main entrance and onto the roof, and boy was it crowded. I didn't know at the time, but watching another Japanese YouTuber's video, I learned that it was around a 2 hours wait for buying a ticket for the food that you want, and then another 2 hours to exchange that ticket for the actual food. So this person whose video I watched waited around from 12:30 to 4:30 just for their bun and drink. In the end, I just decided to find a quiet spot to eat these maple syrup pancakes I got from the combini and drank some electrolyte drink that I prepared the previous day. I wasn't expecting to eat lunch as that is just how these events go, but I wasn't expecting it to be this bad either. Anyways, I was really tired from carrying all the stuff I bought, and since my hotel is only 30 minutes away, I've decided to just return and drop off my stuff first. 2 things happened while I was away. The first being the live performance of Reona, which isn't streamed. The second being that I left my pamphlet at the hotel, so even though Mud Rock and the photo shooting event had much shorter queues nearing the end of the day, I can't do it even if I wanted. Honestly, I was already so satisfied with being there and the goods that I'm completely fine with it. Here's also the drink menu, by the way. Top left is a sanity recovery potion, which was what I wanted to check out. Wanted to. Not anymore when I saw the queue. After coming back from the hotel at around 3:35 PM, you can see that the sky is starting to turn grey. It was forecasted to rain around 4 PM, and if you recall, the Japanese YouTuber I mentioned, they were still in the queue and had to brave the weather for their food. Starting now, I also just let the video play by itself with the original audio so you can sort of experience the event by yourself. I'll add some comments here and there, but we'll come back to talk about some last points and wrap up the video.
朝来るとき大丈夫だったかな。
ないならね、もう分かるからそうで、ほら、矢倉橋まで出ちゃうといけないから。
まだあります。
ごきげんよう。サイトでご確認ください。お願いします。
こちら後ろの後方の方をしてください。
加いただけますよ。
27レースの試験ただいま配布しております。このまもなく27レースの試験配布終了となります。まだ若干残っておりますので、27レースの試験したい方いらっしゃいましたら、先までお声掛けくださいませ。ただいま27レースの試験配布させていただいております。そして周辺でスタッフの試験配布させていただいております。27レース、参加の方いらっしゃいましたら、スタッフお声掛けくださいませ。このまもなく27レース。
あのヒューマンリソースのバッグのモチーフが目印のブースのことよ。中身はいろんな種類があるみたいだから、ドクターが欲しいものが出るよう祈ってるわね。それにしてもガチャガチャって
ただいま第27レースの試験配布させていただいております。もう間もなく配布終了となります。第27レースご参加の希望の方いらっしゃいましたら、ブース周辺のスタッフお声掛けください。27レースもう間もなく配布終了です。
一年固く貫けば剣にすがるありさまこそ人
我が子の景色があります。立ちなさい。生き残ったやつはみんな強者って呼ばれるんだ。
自分の限界は知ってください。
私たちの見せるべきに限られている正当無された反逆の変化についてしかし真実の現実いつも続けます。自分の目に確かめる憧れはどうしようもないその気持ち一つどんなにだって
ベント楽しんでる？ここっていい景色だね。あっちの展示も気になるし、ステージも見たいし、あ、そっちにも行ってみようよ。それにしても会場の中すごい人だね。天人花は小さいから人混みで迷わないように？もうこれでも成人してるし、ドゥリンの中では結構身長高い方だって前にも言ったでしょ。ドクターこそ迷子にならないようにあんまり私から離れないようにして。もしはぐれそうになったらこの旗を目印についてきてね。それじゃあ一緒に楽しんでいこうね。出発！ごきげんよう、ドクター。いつも仕事ばっかりしてるんだから今日くらいは羽を伸ばすといいわ。それにしても賑やかなイベントね。活気なら論面にも負けていないんじゃないかしら。それに学ぶところも少なからずあるわ。持ち帰って論面商業連合会での議題に挙げられそうね。何かしら。また仕事の顔になってる。そうね。あなたに休んだ方がいいと言った手前、私が仕事のことばかり考えるのもおかしいわね。でも会場が気になるのは変わらないし、よかったら案内してくれないかしら。そうね。順序を任せるわ。よろしく、ドクター。なーに？ずいぶん楽しそうじゃない。そのにやけた顔、昔のあんたからは想像できないわ。それにまさかこんな賑やかな場所に来るなんてね。はあ、それこそ昔の私が知ったらどう思うのかしらね。まあせっかくだから今日は休暇として休ませてもらうわ。一緒に行かないのかって？あんたと私が？あんたの口からお誘いの言葉が出てくるなんてね、耳を疑うわ。あいにくだけどお断りよ。休日まであんたの顔を見なきゃいけないなんて。待って、気が変わったわ。言ってあげてもいいわよ。今のあんたがどんな間抜け面を晒すのか楽しみだもの。ねえ、ドクター。さあ、行きましょう。
ドクター、こうしてイベント会場で会うのは前回に続いて2度目だな。どうだ？楽しんでいるか？以前も言ったが、休めるときはしっかり休むのも大事だぞ。有事の際に使い物にならなくても困るからな。ゆっくり休んで楽しんでくれ。私は念のために見回りをしておこうと思ってな。何？仕事柄、こういった人が多いところでは警備が気になってしまうだけさ。まあ、向こうの展示やステージは気になりはするが。一緒に向こうの警備をしに行かないか？そうだな。向こうも見に行ってみるとするか。決して展示が見たいからではないからな。さあ、そうと決まれば行こう、ドクター。
ああ、ドクター。イベント楽しんでいるみたいだな。私か？いや、これでも私なりに楽しんでいるつもりだ。まあ、騒がしい場所は確かにあまり好きではないが、いつも騒がしい奴らと一緒にいるからか、少しは慣れたのかもしれないな。ただ、そうだな、少し疲れたかもしれない。向こうに座って
コーヒーでも飲むことにする。ドクターも来るのか。そうだな、一緒に一休みすることにしようか、ドクター。うるさい奴らがいない間にね。
Alright, welcome back. Hope that gave you a little bit more perspective on the whole venue. Audio was a little weird when I zoomed in and I missed some areas. Sorry about that. Time now is around 4+ in the afternoon. I checked the message board again, and some of you might have noticed right away that the drawings are different. So I checked with the staff who happened to just be beside me. She told me it was just a routine change and it gets swapped once per day, so this was the second piece. The thing that really struck me was that the change happened at around 3:30, so everything you see here was done within 30 minutes, and that's crazy to me. I also wondered what happens to the board after the event, but I was told that that's a secret. After this, I got into a Discord call for about 1.5 hours with my friends who couldn't come and showed them around the place. The event ends at 7 PM and it was around 6 PM when I made my last round. Races were over, queues were empty, placeholder tickets for the goods queue got to around R, S, and T, and the gacha machine area was doing its final calls before it stops for the day. I mostly spend my time walking around and chasing chibi mascots. They're really well made and the people inside really give the character, well, character. It was really cute seeing them walk with a little spring, their little tails wagging to the steps, and sometimes you can catch them from afar, waving their little arms. One thing I really wish I had captured is the interactions between the chibi Amiya and his staff. She was basically acting up and being all like, I don't want to move to the next area, or I want to sit on the decorations and stuff, and the staff would have to talk to her like a child to get her to move. You can just barely see the stuff going over here to tell her not to rest on the decorations, but I checked and the audio wasn't captured because the staff wasn't exactly shouting. Anyways, watching these two was a great way to end the day. Kudos to the people inside. I wasn't paying too much attention, but I'm assuming they get to rest here and there and didn't just walk around for 10 hours straight. Here are some final pictures I took. Feel free to pause to take a better look. The Make Friends wall is absolutely covered, even the name was only barely visible. Here's also the message board in its full glory. You can tell from the fact that I can even get such a picture without anyone in it that the venue is pretty empty by now. One last thing, apparently Axia is going to be selling KFC. Didn't she do this before? Anyways, at around 6+, I decided to call it a day. The rain from the afternoon turned into the first snow of the season and year for Tokyo, and a rather big and windy one at that. One final thing, the spoils of the day. If you've been waiting all this time without skipping forwards, it would have been a really long wait. But the crazy thing is, you're only about 20% of the 4-hour-long wait to get your food if you had queued up. Anyways, one Rhode Island themed mousepad for the one table I never used, one set of funny sunglasses that I can't use because I'm already wearing glasses, a Penguin Logistics stainless steel cup, and tape. What am I gonna use the tape for? I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm probably not gonna use the cup either. 2 event-themed acrylic stands, which I didn't even realize until now that there's glitter in it. Next, 3 pins, 10 keychains, 5 of which I sent to my friends, 1 Penguin Logistics ID card holder, and 3 Rhode Island ones, 2 of which I also sent to my friends. Now, a quick story about the pins. Usually when you buy gacha items in Japan, there will be wording along the lines of a random one will be chosen on purchase. And that was the case for other gacha items sold at the event, but interestingly enough, that wasn't the case for the pins, so I thought that I might have been able to choose. There were 2 sets. I wanted Axia, Texas, and Mostima from set A, so I was only planning to buy 3. I realized once I got the form that it was going to be random, but I still only got 3. In the end, I got Texas, which is the one I wanted the most, so all's good. Keychains wise, these are from the gacha machine. I have 5 duplicates in total, and it was either 3 Noxus and 2 Lumen or the other way around. Next, I have Texas and Lapland dressed up with the card holders holding their own tags. The card holders are metal, and here's a closer look at the cards found within. The total damage is 29,100 yen for the goods, plus 5,000 for the gacha, so over 300 Canadian. I was only planning to spend around a third of that, but after queuing up for so long, I just kinda let loose. That being said, this is still less than half the total amount I spent on art books at Copycat. And that's it! That's all for the video. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed it, and if you have stayed till the end, thank you so much for your time. I hope I didn't cause too much anguish with my amateur vlogging. I made this video hoping to share my experiences, since the anniversary event always ends up being such a difficult one to participate. You not only have to be in the correct country at the correct time, but also have to be lucky enough to be chosen. I also forget things rather quickly, so this video is also kind of a personal log. If I may be so bold, It may even serve as a reference for others who might be looking to participate in the next anniversary or beyond. Hey, if you're watching this video and is currently prepping for 5th anniversary or something, please leave a comment, would love to see it. As a final note, art videos wise, I don't have anything planned at the moment. I'm kinda in a chase my dreams or sell my soul for money kind of decision point in my life right now, and nothing is stable. Video making takes quite a bit of time, so I'm considering streaming potentially, but I'm inconsistent, and I can't talk without losing focus while drawing. I'm sorry if you had placed high hopes in this channel. I really wish I'm better at art and video making to train out more, but priorities wise, I might just have to find a job first. However, I have no intentions of giving up on art, so I'll upload stuff as I make them. Anyways, once again, thank you for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.